is strictly prohibited. Ladies and gentlemen, to honor America, please stand for our national anthem. And they're off. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to beautiful Belmont Park on a rainy Saturday. The main track is sloppy and sealed. We are on the turf today only for race number 9, and the inner turf is yielding. We do have a pick 6 carryover today, and that carryover is $35,712, and it will start in race 5. Here now the changes for the 10-race card. In the first race, we are off the turf. Scratch 2, Slipstream. 3, Command to Fire. 4, Marielle. And scratch 5, Riot House. Scratch 2, 3, 4, and 5. And note that number 9, R-Doc, is a Ridgeling. Second race, scratch the 6, The Great Dansky. Scratch number 6. In the third race, scratch number 1, Yankee Division. Scratch the 1. Race 4, off the turf. These scratches. Scratch 1, Hurricane Andrew. 5, Tanner's Neck Lane. 7, Lord Flincher. Scratch the 8, Brennan's War. 9, Portfolio Hedge. 13, Can It Happen? And 15, Dream Point. In the fourth, scratch 1, 5, 7, 8, 9, 13, and 15. And note that number 2, Rush to Honor, is a Ridgeling. Race 5 begins that pick 6 with the carryover of more than $35,000. We're off the turf for race 5. Scratch number 1, Fetching. The 1A, she's a black belt, will be ridden by Eric Consell. Eric Consell on the 1A. Scratch 2, Madam McLean. Number 7, Halo City, the rider Jose Ortiz. Jose Ortiz on the 7. Also scratch 9, Too Sexy, and 10, Kyoto. So recapping the scratches in race 5, scratch numbers 1, 2, 9, and 10. In the 6th race, no changes. 7th race off the turf. Scratch 1, Arch of Fire. 5, Know-How. Scratch 7, Tuscan Queen. 9, Bitten by Kitten. 11, Quick Conversation. 12, Gale Horse Wind, and 13 Before You. In the 7th, scratch 1, 5, 7, 9, 11, 12, and 13. In today's 8th race, scratch the 3, Superfecto, scratch number 3, and note that number 1, Extraordinary Jerry, should be listed as a colt. The 9th race is the Grade 3 Pennine Ridge Stakes, and again, right now, we are on the turf for race 9. Inner turf is yielding, no changes in the 9th. In today's 10th and final race, we're off the turf. And we'll do the scratches first in race 10. Scratch 1, Senja Kuntaket. 2, Classy Sadie. 3, Kiss and Run. Also scratch 5, Minute Mouse. And 11, Cooper Penny. Scratch 1, 2, 3, 5, and 11. And we have a few rider changes there. Number 4, Freddie Mo Factor will now be ridden by Luis Saez. Luis Saez is on the 4. Number 13, Make or Break. The jockey there is Manny Franco. Manny Franco on the 13. And number 14, Amity Island, will be ridden by Eric Consell. Consell on the 14. Here at Belmont, the main track sloppy and sealed. We're on the turf for race 9. The turf is yielding. The pick 6 carryover stands at more than $35,000. We'll come back at 12:30 to recap the changes. Today's first race post is at 1 p.m. Up next, Serling and Stabile, talking horses.
For almost 150 years, the Saratoga name has been synonymous with the finest quality, sustainably sourced spring water available anywhere. Saratoga carries on the rich tradition of its forefathers by crafting each stunning blue glass bottle with the same attention to detail and care that has been its hallmark for generations. Visit SaratogaSpringwater.com today or ask for us by name at your local market or restaurant. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Talking Horses as I turn my phone off at a very chilly Belmont. I lost a bet already, Anthony. I bet I wouldn't have to wear my winter coat before October at the earliest.
Listen, we looked home to Rome 2.5 weeks ago. It was beautiful.
It felt good. It's the way it is. I was talking about it, by the way. He's Anthony Stabile. I'm Andy Sterling. We're
Hello.
sloppy. We are off the turf, including the stake, which was just taken off the turf about 5 minutes ago. Of course, the stake, the Pennine Ridge, unfortunately, taken off the turf with all the rain. And obviously, it's a big weekend of racing, a lot of stuff going on. The rain spoils it to a certain extent, though I think the card today is still very interesting and look forward to talking about it. We need some rain, Anthony. The infield's turning brown. I mean, when the infield's turning brown in late May, you need rain.
Need rain. Belmont Stakes Racing Festival next weekend, starting Thursday. So come on out to beautiful Belmont Park. Yeah, we needed some rain around here. It had been a while.
It felt like a 900 number. It was like an advertisement. We just said,
well,
we need the rain because it's a big week next week, and it'll help the racing. It'll make the turf fair. It'll make it better.
No question about it.
We just needed some rain. So listen, sorry it came. The good news is there's still good fields throughout the day. You will be playing them through NYRA-Bets. Yes, you will. Head over to NYRABets.com. If you're not a member of NYRA-Bets, no better time than the present. Use the promo code Belmont25. We will match for $200 of initial deposit, and we will add a $25 free bet on top of that. Also, America's Day at the Races, 12:30 to 6. Races here, Churchill. They got a lot of stakes at Churchill, which I'm sure you looked at as well.
7 stakes.
Let's start about race number 1, coming off the turf. So, not surprising, and I don't mean this as a criticism. I mean, you just went to the Rudy Rodriguez blame first-time starter. Any thoughts on this one? Is there a story or anything?
No story.
$3,000 yearling bothers me.
I noticed that. This operation doesn't usually spend an awful lot of money. Some homebreds. So, yeah, cheap price for a blame. Going to catch a wet track on debut. Gets around Ortiz Jr.
Cheap price for any horse, frankly.
Yeah. No question about it.
That worries me a little bit. And I think with IRAD, it's built to be played. Now, obviously, the board is meaningless at this point. There's a 4-5 flincher that stayed in for Wesley Ward. And I'm not saying this horse can't win. And I have the horse 4th. You have her second. I'm not sending it in any flinchier, turf pedigreed horse first time out in the dirt.
No.
It makes me wonder if Wesley thinks this horse isn't that good, and it also might need a race. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't disagree with any of that. I'll say this: a 36-1, a 36-1 on a good track. So this horse has trained over, has a timed work, let alone trained over a course with some moisture in it. Not like this, obviously. The work tab actually has 2 works on good tracks. Work tab was okay. The pedigree kind of throws you off a little bit. A flincher going 5/8 on the dirt.
Yes, good horse to pick against, in my opinion.
Yeah,
but we
I mean, I got to use the horse. I put the horse second.
I don't understand how you don't have the one action potential in your plays, because frankly, she feels like a horse that you have to use near. I don't care that she's a filly against the boys, because she's speed. You know she's shown speed in her races. While she hasn't run monstrously well, this is a race that's mostly full of horses that were entered to run the turf, save a $3,000 first-time starter for Rudy Rodriguez. How do you not have this horse as one of the major contenders?
I guess she can win.
Well,
wouldn't she have to?
Guess she can win?
Wouldn't she have to?
It's kind of the horse to beat, but you guess she can win.
I mean, we're down to a field of 7.
Okay.
I mean, wouldn't you feel like one of these firsts has to run and do something a little bit better?
They're all entered for the turf.
Okay.
You got a War Front with a European dam side. You got a Gio Ponte. You got
2 main track only. You got 2 main track only.
Well, the other main track only is the 1A.
Yeah. So you have a main track only. You have a main track
so
only.
You didn't want that argument. That wasn't a good argument. And then you've got a turf-bred horse in Raw Courage. And much as I respect Jorge Abreu and his numbers. I put that horse third because of my respect for him. I think it's a massive misunderstanding to leave the one action potential out. In my opinion, is absolutely the horse to beat it here, and probably should be the favorite, no worse than second choice.
I thought the 10, the 10 had a nice work tab as well, and it's a war front out of a Galileo May. Obviously,
Galileo's
not thinking
never
about
produced a dirt winner in his life.
You're obviously not thinking dirt, but I mean they're going to leave this horse in. This horse had a bullet at Belmont Park as a 2-year-old in April. Over 120 workmates, fellow workers.
I get it.
I'm going to leave that. I mean, I'm going to play around with that horse a little bit.
I'm not surprised. Well, I'm not surprised if anyone wins this race, but I don't think it's responsible to not understand that action potential has to be considered a major player in here. Race number 2. Race number 2, we'll take a look at Playwright. And maybe Playwright, the 1A in race number 2, has finally found the right field. I cannot pick this horse on top, Anthony.
I mean, I took the entry in here, but I can see your points.
Which one do you like?
I actually like Hardcore Folklore a little bit better.
Well, you can't pick the entry if you like Hardcore Folklore because you're going to get even money, and your horse would be 4 to 5 to 1 on his own. So it's kind of bad if that's the one you like.
Yeah, he is the one I like.
Well, there's
nothing I can do about it. I'm not going to play that funny music.
Why?
I mean, quite frankly,
why?
The only other horse in a race that I think, unless Giodoro can find a way to sneak away from these horses early, I would imagine, and just
how's he
keep
sneaking
going.
away from Skylar Scramjet? Who's faster than he is.
I mean,
stretching out.
We don't know what Skylar Scramjet's going to put.
We don't know what
Giodoro
Giodoro has. Skylar Scramjet has better recent races than Giodoro.
And that's why I said that he'd have to just sneak away from him, and that could be a tough task. Yeah, he'd have to just
get
try
invisible or something.
Sneak away. Have to sneak away.
Well, Luis Rodriguez Castro is riding Skylar Scramjet. Is not known as a rider.
No, he's not.
That it rates speed horses. He's a very aggressive rider, and I like that about him. I think it's one of the reasons he gets some notice around here in a tough jockey colony. He's aggressive. I'd love to have picked Bluegrass Cat Smile. The lower percentage rider doesn't engender any confidence that I'm going to use him, and he does occasionally seem to handle a wet track, though not that often. But I do want to play that funny music because I don't want to take the entry, and I have no issue. And by the way, I'm not saying the one can't win. I don't have a big problem with
I understand
that. It's a problematic situation. As far as playing that funny music, I don't know. He's second off a little bit of a layoff. He's not great, but he's shown enough life in his races that I just thought he was a perfect alternative to Playwright. And by the way, for a guy like you that obsesses about wet tracks, certainly a horse that's not hurt by having some moisture in the track.
He's not. No, he's not. I just think he has to find some races that he hasn't run in 16,
but
15,
Playwright
16
hasn't won
months.
in eons, and I know he's run respectably lately. I mean, his form lately is good, but listen, you don't have many opportunities to pick your man Wayne Potts. You got to take advantage of him while you can.
Talk to Wayne today.
I talked to Wayne today. There we go. See,
I knew he talked about nothing about today's card.
Starts seeping out.
Nothing about today's card.
What did you talk about? Like what flowers you guys are planting at
he
the
asked
house?
me for some advice about something.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. Somebody needs to speak.
He's a very smart man, Wayne Potts.
Well, I don't know. A lot of people now have brought his intelligence into question after that piece of information. But we'll move on to race number 3.
This guy,
where
man.
First Captain is making his return race. And, First Captain may win this race. I'm very curious to see what he does. I can't really judge his speed figure from his last race. I know the race came up very fast. Haven't seen horses coming out of this race, so I don't really know exactly how to judge it. This is a big jump up for him. He's running against some pretty talented horses inside of him in here, and I don't want to take what's probably a short price.
I agree. I put him second. He can win the race. He's supposed to get better with some distance. He won going 7/8 first out. Now he gets a mile today. It's natural progression, right? Natural progression.
I just feel like he's going to be a super short price. Shugs Wordsworth off of maiden wins. The numbers aren't great. He's 3 for 12, second-time starters.
Well, the percentage is okay. The ROI,
it's not bad,
Shugs horses get that.
Well, I think that trainer stat very perfectly fits this horse, right?
Yeah, perfectly fits this horse.
Take a lot of money.
Who can win, but more often than not is going to get beat.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you've got off the reservation and picked the 4th or 5th likeliest winner. What's going on? You like the movie, The Big Kahuna?
I tell you what, I like this horse's last race. I thought this horse last time off the long layoff. This horse was gone for 17 months. Looked like he was going to get nothing on the far turn, and then re-rallied, almost got the winner who got to the front. That's what I'm sorry?
So unusual. But that was a pretty suspect field.
I'm not saying it wasn't, but I'm going to give the horse the benefit of the doubt off 15 months, Andy. 17
but his
months.
First race was atrocious.
Okay. And the second race was considerably better,
It
off
was.
all the time.
No question.
And I think that if
Todd's good off layoffs, though. He's got great numbers off long layoffs.
I'll tell you what,
Great
this horse is a 478 Tomlinson for a wet track. I mean,
so now you've told the truth.
All kidding aside,
You're betting on Tomlinson.
you assume when the wet track
all
comes,
this
the Yankee division is going to come out, and he did.
No, he came out because he's entered on Monday.
What's he entered? Is he entered in one of the stakes
I
Monday?
know. I actually finished the card. Yes, Anthony, he's entered one of the stakes.
Okay.
He's entered the commentator instead of your horse.
He could scratch tomorrow. He could scratch on these stakes. So the big kahuna is going to get loose on the lead in here. And I think that gives him a little. I like the fact that he's second off. He had the experience on the wet track last time. He's going to be. See, that's a crazy price. I don't know what David had Yankee division. I don't. How is this horse a bigger price?
Let's go to the videotape.
That's a crazy price. This horse ran.
Well, David clearly agrees that the public
better
will feel
than that last
exactly
time. That
about
I
him
can
that
tell
I do.
you.
Now his price may have gone up.
Francisco, not
as a
literally
result of
going
you
to the
picking him.
videotape.
Yankee division was 5-2.
No, Francisco,
go back.
Go to
please.
the videotape is something Warner Wolf used to say on CBS. What was Yankee division?
He was 5-2 morning launch.
Oh, okay.
So this moved big
Fair
winner
enough.
down to about 8
Yes.
to 10 to 1.
Right. I mean,
I agree with David. I don't think he'll take any money, but listen, I get it. He's probably the speed. I didn't disagree with that. I considered him moving him to 4th, no doubt about it. As far as hometown, it's a big rider switch to Irad Ortiz. This horse really ran well 2 races back. Didn't run back to it last time, but it was a race dominated on the front end. And he was sort of out of position the whole way. I kind of like him in Dust Devil in here. I'm not wildly against First Captain. I just thought he'd be a shortish price, and I wanted to try to beat him. I don't have a strong opinion here. I just thought Hometown was the other horse to go to if you're trying to beat First Captain. Just thought he was very logical.
Okay.
But he's got to run well because he was disappointing last time.
he was disappointing last time.
He was. No.
But you're right. I mean, he was
you're
kind of
wrong.
out of position, and the pace held together. I don't know. I thought he was going to run better last time.
Which crop? Crops?
The crop, not the
There really
prop.
is a crop I think they're going to put out there sometime.
Oh, corn. He lost corn.
So I liked Tanner's Neck Lane off the turf and on
Did
the
you?
turf and racing. Yeah, the horse was all against the bias last time out. Now, Francisco, if you would like to return and go to the videotape, I'm sorry, I won't use that expression again. That's on me. That's not your fault. That was me. I didn't even notice that the Mighty Regality, first time he ran, is owned by Joseph Migliori.
Yes.
I feel like I
Joey
really missed
Mig.
out on an opportunity to make fun of Joey on the show.
Well, look at what happens now, Andy. Are you going to make fun of the fact that he's in sub silks? Are those sub silks?
Yeah, Joey, you have sub silks. I mean,
Those are sub silks.
You've got a family reputation to hold up around here.
Wow, Joe Migliori in sub silks.
Between your dad and your uncle, and by the way, speaking of his uncle Mike, Dylan Davis returning, I believe, on Monday to ride. I think he's named an horse.
He's riding at Monmouth today.
Oh, is he? Well,
Yeah.
we wish Dylan the best of luck. Glad to see he's back.
Yeah, that was a pretty harrowing
So
look.
good to
and
see
he's
him
good
back.
to see him back. Yeah.
I scratched into this horse when the 5 came out. I don't want to love this horse, but where else am I supposed to go here?
Man.
I've pretty much given up on Lou Loves the River. He was atrocious last time.
remember you liked him last time.
He was awful. I mean,
He
I
was
liked him
terrible.
doesn't mean he's supposed to run, and
Yeah.
I don't know where else to go. You know, it's interesting they leave in Druid. Druid's a half to Red Knight and McKagan. Didn't Red Knight run okay?
Red Knight got beat that far to Minsky's moment
Oh yeah, there you go.
on Father's
And
Day
he ran very well off the slop.
in the slot.
That's
Hector,
probably why they left him in.
Diaz rode him. How about that
But
one?
who's his sire? Because this horse is a magician. Which kind of scares me.
Oh, I don't remember. It was. I want to say it was a distance influence.
It was,
though.
and I thought he won that photo.
I did too.
That was Minsky Mono's only win.
I
think
think
that was
he
a
won, I
Minsky
think he
moment
won
for
one
my
more. I think he
bankroll.
won a 4-year-old. I think he won a 4-horse field again, maybe a year later.
He was like
Another off the turf
he
race.
like stole the thunder from Groupthink. What about you've got my 3 in there as
Groupthink.
well.
Yeah,
Dan Milano.
Drop it in. I mean, look,
Ran well enough against Dr. Blue
if Regality runs that figure from last time,
What's up with the 10? Is there a story? I mean, you just had to use a Rudy Irad firster because you knew it would be overbet. You couldn't leave it out.
no, I mean, I just wanted
Can't
some
leave
of
out
these
horses that are underlaced.
these horses that.
I get it. I'm teasing.
Some of these horses are just, I thought did I put Linda? I wanted to put Linda fourth.
I would put Linda.
Yeah, I thought about it.
Of course, Rush to Honor has a nice turf better. He's a half of that nice turf sprinter, March X Express. Wasn't that horse ridden by the kid from down in Maryland?
She won her debut. She won like the first 2 or 3 starts of her career with impossible trips,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah. Was
got
it Todd?
through.
No,
It was Todd. That was
horse.
Todd.
I'm thinking
just
another
kept
horse.
getting through these impossible trips from the
right.
moon.
You're right about that.
Yeah.
She overcame trouble. That's right. In a couple of her starts, she was actually pretty good as a 2-year-old. That's race number 4. Race number 5 kicks off the pick 6. There's a carryover. Do we have a slate by any chance?
35,000
for the carryover. Francisco.
Mistaken. Boom.
Wait,
Here it comes.
Francisco is so on top of his
There's
game
such
today.
anticipation when the odds board when the program leaves 35-7-12.
We didn't even talk about doing this in the pregame, and Francisco's on his game today.
Yes.
I'm sure he's getting help from others in the truck as well. We don't want to dismiss that.
Wow.
Well, I mean, there are other people involved in our.
Andy, he is the director. That's what I was told yesterday.
He proudly wants to put himself in the same category as Mitch Levitas, something that nobody else has ever done in life. We'll go right to the videotape, if you don't mind, Francisco, and take a look at Anthony's pick, the number 11, Summer Brew, who I think was last time was the time. And I did move the horse to 3rd, but I'm not a fan.
Okay. And I can see not being a fan. Her 3 races.
Anthony, the water got so much deeper.
You all right?
The water got so much
the water.
deeper.
I think you said your water, the Saratoga water.
That's not Saratoga water. That's a tea.
Oh, tea. Yeah. The
Tea
water
with
does
honey.
get deeper.
Deeper?
She
fell off from the child's end of the pool into the deep end.
She's coming back to the form she showed early on in her career. Right, the maiden win and then the race in the Lady Finger.
Maybe.
Those 2 races were okay.
They kind of knew she was going to win last time.
They did.
She could have been bigger than 7-1.
They did. She could have been bigger than 7-1. She went wire to wire. She's going to have some pace company in here for sure. But I don't know. I think drawn outside, catches another wet track. I think she could be okay in the end.
She can win. I don't disagree. I don't like her. I think there's more speed in this race. She was able to scoot away from them. Maybe she gets away from Violent Point, but it's hard to see why Javier wouldn't be aggressive.
What's the difference between scoot and sneak? I said that Giodoro was going to sneak away.
Sneak means you're like doing it and they're not watching. Scoot means you just go.
You just go?
There's a big difference between scoot and sneak.
Big difference?
Just because they both start with S and they have 5 letters doesn't mean they're the same. By the way, to digress for a moment, anybody on Twitter weigh in yet on who the sire of Red Knight is? Because my friend Steve just told me. It's actually pretty incredible. If you had come up with this one, I would have been very impressed.
Is it a European sire?
No. No, it's a horse that we saw race many times.
Wow.
Don't see him as a sire too
Should I give everybody a hint? He's a New York. Red Knight is a New York bred.
Well, doesn't mean he had a New York bred sire.
Doesn't mean that.
I have no idea where this horse stood.
Okay.
He was trained by Shug McGay. I am going in a slightly different direction in this race. I will use Risk Model, who hasn't run particularly well, but I think has run well enough, and I think has just been faster or as fast as Summer Brew. And Summer Brew, I think, is going to take a lot of money off of that win and the slop and seeing the whole thing. I'm going to give Say Moi another chance. I always thought when she was entering this race, they were thinking about the weather a little bit. There was a time when Say Moi would have buried this field. That time, sadly, is long gone.
Well, annihilated this
field. But you know what? Maybe she needed the freshening. And her price should be fair enough in here, I think.
See, I'm more. Yeah, finish. I'm sorry. Sorry to
interrupt.
No,
I don't have a lot to say about her.
There's not a lot to say.
She was once going to bury this field, and she's not going to be the favorite. And I just thought she was worth taking it off the turf race.
I think she'll take.
Well, she's not going to be 10-1.
No, I think
she'll be around 7-2 to 5-1, somewhere in that range.
Yeah, okay,
no,
fair enough.
I'm not saying she's going to be 8-1.
No.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Let me ask you another question.
Sure.
Bay Jewel ran that big race in the slop at Aqueduct. My 4th choice here, by the way. Oh, is the 4. I was looking the wrong way.
You're on the left.
I forgot, right. Mm-hmm. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. By the way, great job getting the show up on the other TV there, directly. Bay Jewel ran out of her skin last time, and she has run well on sloppy tracks. I think she's a horse you have to throw in this race.
I think you can make some sort of...
But you have a horse that's run very well against better horses.
I think you can make some sort of a case for 6 or 7 of these horses.
I don't know. I'm not sure about that. I'm not a Saratoga Love fan. I'm not a Violent Point fan. We'll see.
Well, Bay Jewel, Risk Model,
Halo
Saratoga
City.
Love. I mean, I like Saratoga Love a little bit. Halo's...
Really? What's to like about Saratoga Love?
I like the fact that they're leaving this horse on the turf. The mare was okay on the dirt.
Well, she hasn't run a layoff. They probably want to give her a race.
Yeah, maybe.
Take a shot. Okay, that the first 5? Late pick 5 after a quick break.
Make business meetings exquisite. Make a weekend outing exquisite. Make a late night snack exquisite. Make a night on the town exquisite. For nearly 150 years, the Saratoga Spring Water Company has been producing the finest spring water available anywhere. Saratoga Spring Water. Make every day exquisite.
By the way, the answer, I'm Anthony Serling. He's Anthony Stabile. We're watching Talking Horses, in case you got confused.
Presented by Saratoga Water.
Horses in the paddock.
Presented
Got a nice
by
shot on the
our
paddock.
friends at Saratoga Water.
That's
Hopefully
right.
that the water doesn't
Good
turn
friends at
into
Saratoga Water.
frozen. You weren't a wrestling fan. The Iron Sheik used to come out with
Enough Iron Sheik.
barbells. Pure Prize, yeah.
Pure Prize, the sire of Red Knight.
Both dual surface winner, I believe, Pure Prize, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, race number 6. Race number 6.
Had a tough time with this heat. You?
I did, because Bronx Bomber's the horse to beat. But the problem with Bronx Bomber, as we take a look at his last race, and he's in great form, is he's not a horse that's totally trustworthy if he doesn't get the lead. Now, perhaps he's able to clear, listen to your heart, Bears Mafia, and a lot depends on who Bears Mafia is, because the Bears Mafia that ran 2 races ago is not letting this horse go easily. The Bears Mafia ran last time, he was out the back door, but he's back in, and it's probably a good sign. I just don't trust this horse unless he's able to control a race. As well as he's run his last couple races, and he's the horse to beat. I'm not.
So, I don't think they're putting him on the lead today.
And he can't win.
I think they've, and I have not talked to Rudy about this, but I think they've kind of fallen into, and listen, the problem is his 2 fastest races have been from off the pace. Those are his 2 fastest figures.
Win.
I know that. I get it.
And he should have won
But
last time.
I don't think you're putting a Ratatis Jr. on horses to blast off on the front end.
Okay, fine. Then I'm glad I picked against him.
Yeah.
We'll see how he does. He's obviously good enough. Now, T loves a fight. Obviously, he's a horse that makes a lot of sense in here, assuming there's a lot of pace. My problem is he hasn't won a race since October 10th of 2019, and to be honest with you, he should have won last time.
He should have won last time.
This race completely and totally incinerated, and I think they were worse horses. I'm not saying he can't win, because he can win. But I got a feeling that he's a trap a little bit. You know, he looks like the right closer, and the race packed with speed, and he can handle a wet track on occasion. I don't know, man. I don't trust this horse.
Yeah, he could be. I mean, I had a tough time with the race. I wound up chalking out.
Well, if you have a tough time with a race, chalking out is not the wise way to go as a general handicap.
I just didn't really trust any of my other.
It doesn't matter. I don't. That's a philosophy that I think is badly flawed. I think if you're looking at a race and you're having trouble and you can't play me, that means that you're not really sold in the favorites. I get it. I understand. Now, it's one thing if you're saying, I really, really want to pick against this favorite.
Yeah, that was not the case in here. That was not the case in here.
And I'm not. I struggled because I just don't have confidence in the 6. I don't have an argument that he's the horse to beat it here. Against it being a horse to beat. I think Andy Dancing is a little bit dangerous coming off the layoff for Chad Brown. He doesn't have great numbers, Chad Brown, off layoffs of dirt horses, but he is New Gelding, and there was a time that he'd be very competitive in here. But he did run 2 complete clunkers in his last 2.
Yeah, and you know what worries me? His 2 best figures by far were up at Saratoga, and the other 4 races are kind of average races. Now, I know he brought him back off the layoff in the Mike Lee, and then somebody, he shut them down to Monmouth, which is probably not the place for a horse like him. But I didn't know what to do with him.
I like Casmania in here. Casmania is a horse that's run races that are close enough to be competitive, and he's going to be a very big price.
Huge price.
He's also a horse that can take advantage of some pace if some pace develops in this race. And he went bad, no doubt about it. But let's be careful and look at his races. There's an argument he could have won that Caretaker race, ran against Big Engine in that race, didn't really even run that badly in there. The next time he ran, he was just over his head, but he was going the wrong way, and Leaky Cup was able to control in a slow pace. Then they tried turf, and he didn't run well last time. But he gets a trainer change, he got a little layoff, and you look at him, he went from a February to June layoff, and he ran his best figure he shows. So he's come off of layoffs before and run well. I don't love Casmania. I'd be foolish to suggest I do. But I think you can make enough of a case for him in this race, a race that there are holes in sort of every logical horse in this race.
No question about it.
And I can make enough of a case for him to put him on top at a big price. That's all.
Okay.
I mean,
And if you're of the opinion that Bronx Bomber is going to the lead today, he's certainly.
I'm not saying he's going to lead one way or the other. I don't think what you said is invalid. I don't know what to think. I'm not sure because a lot of it's going to depend on Bears Mafia. Listen, Bears Mafia, who I didn't pick 1, 2, 3, 4, could win this race. He could just go and wire the field because he's got fast races. He's faster than these horses on his best races, and he's got speed, and he's got to go from the rail. But he's impossible to have any confidence in.
He is. He probably shouldn't have run last time.
Oh, the way he ran, he shouldn't have. Race number 7. Race numbers. I was hoping Tuscan Queen would run here. I like that horse's workout, the 2-year-old sale. Thought they might take a shot in the dirt with that horse, but they did not. What did you do here, my friend?
I went to
Blue Times. You having Blue Times, Anth? Do you want to talk? Do you want a hug?
I've had Blue Times in my life. We've all had Blue Times in our lives.
Not me. I'm Mr.
Come
Sunshine.
on,
you know, you
really. Mr. So well, could you bring some?
I don't need any sunshine. I just need a giant warmer to come in for this weather.
I got 3 tips on this horse from 3 different sects of people.
Blue Times? Wow. What, before it came off the turf or after it did?
When the forecast changed. 4 off the turf.
3 tips. Really? Can you give their phone numbers out in the air? 3 tips of the Danny Gargan first-time starter. 3. Was Kendrick one of them?
No.
Kendrick, you really need to call Anthony and make it 4.
One was associated with the horse. The other 2 were not. Which
the other 2 was like the guy at the butcher shop.
That always kind of gets the antennas going around. No, I'm not gonna.
You're not gonna reveal sources here.
No.
Okay. Listen, it's a Danny Gargan first-time starter. He left in. I didn't love this horse's 10 1/5 workout, the 2-year-old sales, but not going to knock a Danny Gargan thing. The only problem is, and I'm not, the horse could obviously win. If you have 3 tips in this horse, this horse is going to be a short price. Let me ask you a question, in all seriousness. What do you do when this horse is 8 to 1? Do you think that I mean, in a funny way, and I'm not saying you're going to bet him, and I get that. And listen, I've had tips on firsters that have been live, and they've won at big prices. But it's Danny Gargan, man, Like,
right, if it was 8 to 1, ordinarily,
it's hard not to think he's just totally dead, and you're wondering who are these people that gave me a tip on.
Right. Ordinarily, if you get a tip on a horse like this, and he's 8 to 1, you
don't have a tip. You got 3.
I got 3. Yeah.
Does Pete know?
He does now.
How about Phil?
He does now, too.
He didn't tell you before the show? Some friend he is.
Phil don't like tips. Pete loves tips.
My respect for
Phil
you, which was already
tips.
very high, just skyrocketed.
Phil is not a tips fan.
I hate tips.
You hate Phil. He hates you, Phil.
No, I like Phil. I hate tips. The problem with tips is they're insidious. You can't really get them out of your head. And you just, over time, they're just...
I've gotten a little bit better. Like, I'll use this horse in the pick 5.
You're a biggest tip sucker I've ever met in my life.
And like you said, the problem is... See, here's the problem with a horse like this.
Here's the thing.
You get 3 tips. You said it. You get 3 tips. Horse is supposed to be 3 to 1.
3 to 1. 3 to 1.
You want to bet it?
This horse is going to be under 2 to 1.
You want to bet at 3 to 1 in a race where I want to use like four horses. You know what I mean? 4 or 5 horses.
So I guessed with Sand and Sea. Bill Mott's got good numbers with his first-time starting fillies. It was entered MTO on the outside.
Yep.
This horse is a half to 3 horses that couldn't do any running that I could see, and they paid $180,000 for her. I'm just going to guess, and I don't have any story. You know me? I rarely get stories. I don't get stories from my friends. I'm the only guy that talks on the phone with Chad Brown and doesn't even ask him when he has first.
Andy also likes this horse because she has the highest Tomlinson in the field.
Does she have a big Tomlinson?
437.
Yeah, not as big as your Tomlinson earlier, though, Ant. So
I carry a big Tomlinson.
I've got cease and desist in. This horse has a real turf pedigree, but the fact that Chad Brown leaves her in says one of 2 things to me. He just doesn't like her really at all, and he figures it doesn't matter. But he left her in Saratoga, and now he leaves her in again.
Horses a half to stakes winner, another twist of fate, who's won on all 3 surfaces.
Yep.
So maybe that's part of the reasoning, but you're right. Left this horse in. Red Ghost has turned out okay for Wesley Ward.
Yeah, I just want to leave it in for Chad Brown. It feels like this one will probably show up. Back channel. I mean, I don't know if she can run it at all anymore. You've left her off your top 4. I can't leave her out of my top 4 in this race. I've got to have her somewhere.
She's the infamous 5th pick, and I kind of made it figuring one of these horses would scratch coming off the turf, but they didn't. There's a Jonathan Thomas first.
There's a horse I'm looking for. Sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. Evoking has the last 2 works pretty fast, including that gate move 2-back.
It's really a turf pedigree, though.
Yeah, it really is, but he's leaving the horse in, and then there's an Into Mischief, Michelle Nevin, who went a bullet. I love the bullet. I'm not the biggest workout guy, but I love the bullet 2 works before the race, and then a little bit more of a maintenance move
I'd
next time.
I'd like a bottle of bullet to get through the show this afternoon.
That would not be a bad
Greg and I could be polishing that off on the show.
I probably have some of that at home. Should have told me. I would have brought it in.
By the way, you're pretty excited about that horse on Monday, aren't you? Don't say its name. I haven't even gotten a response, by the way. I'm a little upset about that.
You're such a sick guy.
You're excited. You just admit it. The bullet made me think of it. I got Mud Love in there as well. I'm looking for the 10, Guinevere. They have to come back on the turf. That horse's debut was interesting. Race number 8. Been looking forward to race number 8. And I don't... Listen, sloppy tracks obviously throw a monkey wrench into it. And the pace changed a bit when Superfecto came out. It helps Lost in Rome. Mystic Knight. I don't say this too often, as you know, and I usually laugh at people when they say this about horses win allowance races. I think there's a real potential. This is a greatest stakes winner. This win at Belmont Park, at Aqueduct, was one of the most impressive wins I saw all winter, because this was a super gold rail. Yankee Division was in great form, was scooting along on the gold rail, and even if you want to say a 1.1 miles is stretching it for him, but he's run well at a 1.8 miles before. And this horse made a long, wide, sustained run. That figure, the 99, has come back to be completely proven. He beat the bias. I think that this is a very, very good horse.
He
and it's a stepping stone to a race like the Suburban.
He absolutely beat the bias, number 1. And number 2, like you said, Yankee Division has come back and run well.
No, others have too.
And others have too.
Others have too.
Yeah, I mean,
Ajaweed was second. Ajaweed finished third, was second in the flat out, and improved his Beyer figure 24 points. Another horse, like the 4th finisher, improved 19. Oh, you know who the 4th finisher was? Lost in Rome. Now, granted, he had a good trip situation, but still.
But he won.
And he did chase against the pit bias, but he did win and run that race. I don't usually take, and I'm a fan of this horse.
No, you're more conservative when it comes to this stuff. And listen, like Andy said, the wet track obviously throws a huge crimp into the plan.
And not necessarily, even if he handles it, wet tracks can change races in the manner they're run. But I'm a fan of this horse, and I hope he runs well today. I like this horse.
Me too.
Listen, I'm friends with Chad, and I'm friends with Peter Brand. I hope they have a good horse, but I like this horse a lot.
On pedigree, this horse should have zero problem handling a wet track.
Yeah, but how's
you
Tomlinson?
never know. Huge, 429.
It's not that. I mean, we got 430s and 485. You threw it a 485 earlier.
They do everything. This horse will.
You and I are on the same page in here. I think Doubly Blessed is okay. I know Locally Owned didn't run yesterday, but this horse, he just keeps running.
He's run every one of his dirt races.
That was a cue, Francisco.
He's run well in every one of his dirt
Doubly
races.
Blessed.
Even the 1 3/8 race, he just doesn't want to go that far.
I couldn't agree more.
That was it. I mean, it was a distance thing. He got tired at the 3/16 pole, and that was it when they turned for home. The rest of his dirt races, I mean, how could you knock? You can't. There's no knock.
No, he's in great form.
No knock.
I'm going to use him. Let's talk about some others in here. You know what's funny? I laugh when I saw Extraordinary Jerry back. Besides the fact I like the name. I remember this horse running that big race at Saratoga, and I hated this horse that day at Saratoga. I mean, I would have booked anything I could have booked on him at 5-2. And he ran off like he should have been 2-5. I mean, I didn't like that horse at all. And he ran well at Gulfstream.
I don't think I liked him either.
Seems to have just fallen apart, right?
Yeah. 2 races now in 21 months, 22 months, 20 months.
Hard to be. What about Lost in Rome? What if he can? Is he scoot or sneak?
He would be.
I would be scooting.
I think he's a sneaky. I think he's trying to sneak away. I mean, I guess he could get loose.
He is the last time was the time horse.
Yeah.
The Notas actually have good numbers off wins. Off wins and dirt routes, they're 7 for 26 with a healthy ROI.
Here's this question: how far? I mean, I guess he's faster than him.
Can your favorite horse live your beast life? I knew you'd have him in there somewhere.
The same way you got Family Biz. There's got to be honorable mention somewhere in there. I mean, he could absolutely.
Family Biz could win.
Sure.
I mean, I don't bet horses because I cashed on the time before. But this horse can
and
win.
Live Your Beast Life's it's gonna be confusing because he won his debut, but
he could run better.
He gets better when he has some race or two under his belt.
I gave him a good look.
Yeah,
this is a fun race. It's a good race.
It is a fun race.
Yeah, no.
Even Creed's best race and biggest fig came going a mile and a 16th on a wet track here.
Yeah, when he sat behind a 4-horse monster speed bull. He's one of the luckiest dressed up horses, and he just hasn't come back and run at all.
He hasn't.
I'm not saying that there is the world.
Maybe third off the break and catching some moisture in the track helps his cause.
Terrible. I hear you.
I'm
sad that the Pennine Ridge came off the turf. Can we give a little love to the late Alan Dragone, who owned Pennine Ridge, late chairman of the New York Race Association, and an extremely kind man as well.
Yeah.
David Donk trained Pennine Ridge. Is that the story he tells about Pennine Ridge and the Wad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we don't have any scratches for you.
We don't have scratches yet for this race.
But
I think Anthony and I have done a reasonable job of picking the 4 that'll run. I mean, Sainthood's going to run. I don't want to pick Sainthood on top, Anthony, because I'm not convinced he's that good.
I'm not either. And
he's going to be very short in here.
To me, his best race was clearly the all-weather race in the Jeff Ruby Stakes when he probably should have won.
I'm not. Listen, obviously he can win. I'm not trying to. But why is he necessarily any better than the Reds? Not the Reds is going to be a big price, but he's going to be a big favorite over the Reds, isn't he, in all likelihood?
Yeah, I would imagine those two are going to be.
What are you looking at?
I'm getting the scratches for this race. There are some late scratches.
If Francisco was doing his job, he'd be telling us in his ear, but he's the director.
So far out of the Pennine Ridge, you could take out the number 2 Step Dancer, the number 3 Shaftesbury, and the number 7
Public Sector.
2, 3, and 7 thus far.
I'm not going to use Hard Love. I'm not.
It's still early, right?
It's very early. I just took a 9. It'll be a better price. I'll tell you a horse I want to use in here. I want to use Minuteman.
Listen, he's 6 lengths, not even 6 lengths behind Dynamic One.
Just lost to that Chadwell horse is not bad.
And listen, and I know this race is on a dirt, but he's shown improvement in all his starts, even though the race last time behind Hard Love.
4 is scratched. Hard Love is scratched also.
And Hard Love is out. Okay, so 2, 3, 4, 7 so far. 2, 3, 4, 7.
I want to have a discussion here about. I think you wore this tie less than 2 weeks ago.
No, absolutely not.
Okay,
take it up with Phyllis. But I'll tell you right now, if you come...
Can we have like a phoner? Can we have a phoner with Phyllis?
Yeah, we got to run on the horn.
Does Pete get involved?
I'll tell you right now, you better come correct if you're coming to Phyllis with the wrong time,
I am firmly in the Phyllis camp, as you know. So obviously the 3 scratched, he's out. We'll see, 9, 5, 6. All right. Oh, were we showing a video? Sainthood. Did we show it?
We didn't see it yet. Jeff Ruby Stakes.
Sorry. There. Jumped ahead.
This is his best race, right? And his best race comes on an all-weather.
Well, his Derby got him a decent fig. I didn't think he did any running at all.
He didn't do any running in the Derby, right? Right here, he gets into that blind switch, and now he gets checked again, and now he gets outside. Listen,
he's fine.
He's getting Joel Rosario.
He
just feels like he's going to be.
His third form is a little suspect.
The Reds has races that are clearly faster.
And we always thought the Reds could be okay. A one-turn race seems very logical to me. I want the Reds over him.
I picked him over the Reds, but
You're such a baby. You're up here making a case for the 9, and now you pick the 5.
I'm a sucker when I see the Joel Rosario, man. That's the problem.
Got that Barney look going on. I'm going to tell you something. In the 10th race, as we move on to race number 10.
You got it, Tiny Tim. You're going to really call me Barney with that hat on? Mod on.
Purple, Barney, purple.
Yeah, I know.
By the way, let me tell you something.
Can I have some figgy pudding?
You don't mind when I make fun of you about being a big guy, and I don't mind when you make fun of me about being a little guy. So perfect.
Somebody last night called me Tony, though. That was a snap.
Yeah, I laughed out loud.
That was an absolute snap tweet.
I tell you what's funny is I get annoyed when I see like a message where somebody calls you that. I get annoyed.
There's an automatic snap back.
I agree. It's funny. I laugh about the people that make the little comments on social media. It's like, really? I used to get upset that I was like 3rd grade, but really? Let me tell you something. As you get older, being little's better.
See,
my tall friends all have bad backs. They can't fit in the theater seats.
He's not that short. That's the problem with the little guy.
I'm not that short, right? I am 5'5". I'm closing in and shrinking, but I'm still 5'5".
I think I'm shrinking. My mom says that I'm shrinking.
You are shrinking.
You think I'm shrinking
So
too?
my friend, the Freddie Moe factor, the 4 is named for my friend Freddie
Sure.
Moe, who's a wonderful man, for anybody that knows him. Every single time this horse seems to be entered in New York, this horse has been rained off the turf because there were so many days that Freddie said to me, I'm going to come out today, I'm going to come out, and he get rained off. They leave him in, he can win, or she can win. So Gray's Destiny was my replay. Oh, you've got to have Gray's Destiny on top in the 9th race, right? The
I
number
have
9.
on the top 5, top 4.
You don't have a Christophe Clement horse that broke its maiden by 5 lengths first time out
And
in
now
the
I'm
top
starting
4.
to wonder if I just wrote the wrong numbers down.
How do you not have this horse in your top?
I don't know.
This is like an automatic Anthony Stabile play.
Oh, the drop. The drop terrified me.
Terrified you?
Yeah, the drop terrified me.
Terrified.
Yeah.
What race do you think they were supposed to run this horse in? Stake? Thinking Showcase Day?
Well, I don't know why.
This horse is just what she is. Okay, listen, I don't love her either, but I think she's. Who do you have on top?
I have the 8 on top. Carrick.
Simply because the Nodas are going to get this horse to improve 15 lengths. I mean, I know they've done it routinely, but wow, that takes some magic wand to make that happen. I mean, I got the horse 4th because they're on it, but I don't know. This horse is awful. This would be some improvement.
Yeah.
Even for these magicians. This form is a joke. So you've got the 12 second. Who's the 12? Oh, my God. Wow. Okay. Did you look at this race? Did you number it wrong?
I think I numbered this race wrong.
Okay.
Take those down, please.
Okay. For once, I'm not wrong in making fun of these preposterous picks this guy has up.
Yeah. It was supposed to be the 9.
Okay.
But
so
the drop did terrify me.
Anthony likes the 9,
9.
Gray Destiny on top. Who is your second choice?
It was supposed to be 9.
Number 9.
8. I had the 8 in there. It was supposed to be 9, 8, 14, 6.
You've got the 12 written up there.
No, but it's not
9,
on the
8,
back.
14,
9,
6.
8,
Okay.
14, 6.
I like the 10, Saved by the Bell. I preferred her on the turf. I thought her turf races were actually really better than her dirt races. But I thought she was an interesting horse shipping up for Mike Trombetta. I just thought she's run enough races that were fast enough to win, and she wouldn't be that short a price. I was going to use 10, mostly one of my 10, 6. Who's the 6? What about Mohana's Tail?
Yeah. It was supposed to be 9, 8, 14, 6. The 14s and 1. Thank you, guys.
I don't know if Mohana's Tail can run, but her one dirt race actually wasn't that bad.
No,
so
it was on a wet track, so yeah.
It's kind of a mess. All right, I'm a little chilly. I'm going to go.
Also, the other thing about her
Keeps
is her
working
one race going long was probably her best race. So.
All right. Thank you so much for putting up with us today. We'll be back tomorrow for more America's Day at the Races.
Just stabbed myself with a staple.
Head over to Naira Bets if you're not a member. Bet will match you with $200 of your initial deposit and give you a $25 free bet as well. Play through Naira Bets. Keep the money in the game. Support New York racing and play through Naira Bets. Finally, 12:30 to 6, right up here, America's Day at the Races, all the action from Belmont Park, as well as the stakes-laden card from Churchill Downs.
Churchill?
Yep. Anthony, it's been a pleasure.
I like South Bend and the Blame today. A lot.
Okay, I don't, but thank you. Oh, Bill Mott? Oh, my God, you like a Bill Mott horse?
Look at us a lot today.
I like, I like an ex-Bill Mott horse in there. Is that the race with that horse
Sprawl.
I like? Sprawl, I like Sprawl, yeah. I'm all about Sprawl in there. It's been a pleasure. I'm going to head upstairs and try to thaw out. Or see what happens. Heat's on in my office. Nice and cozy.
Going home.
Baby. Big baby.
Big baby. Hat.
I'm a little
Heat's
baby.
on in my office.
I'm a little
Hot
baby.
tea.
I'm a little baby. I didn't say I
Guy
was
didn't
a
even
baby.
drink a
You're a big
Saratoga
baby.
water today.
What?
Unbelievable. Johnny I is up next with a reprise of the scratches and changes. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks a lot.